All right, I'm doing a video about, I guess, guns and cemeteries. I guess guns can get you there. Anyway, this is kind of how I feel about the chase. Right there in the middle. So let's go from there. If we go to page 37, it goes, my father gave me a Daisy rifle for my 8th birthday. And we know 8 on the keyboard is an asterisk. I used to shoot it all the time. So, the time gets us to the cemetery. Kid has a lot of time to think in a cemetery. Anyway, and it just goes on on this page though. Here's something to think about is these pictures are round, and I'm going to show you right now, but this reads me and June playing Billy the Kid. And you're like, well, what's that got to do with it? Well, let's look here. Okay, this is a grave marker at a museum. I don't know. Anyway, it's called Pals, and this is Billy the Kid, died 1880 right here. And what is significant about this is they were playing Billy the Kid, and there's 3 people on this grave marker. That's and you're like, well, what's that got to do with it? Let's take a look here. So remember, the pitcher's round. They're playing Billy the Kid. Okay, we know that right here, you're sitting here using this as your front sight, the blaze, and you shoot across to number 3. It's number 3 marker. So Billy the Kid, they're playing Billy the Kid by shooting across, and they hit number 3, just like Billy the Kid's got on his grave marker. And you're like, that's a stretch of imagination. Let's look at this next picture and see what it shows us. Okay, we're in Too Far to Walk, and we're just happened to be, this is scrapbook number 10, and we know 10 is X marks the spot. So 10 represents Roman numeral X. Anyway, and the other thing is we're on chapter 33. And notice these are not capital. That gets us to Capitol Hill. Anyway, 33 right here. And this was, scrapbook number 10 before he put it in this book here. And it tells about his friends here. They're taking a plane, and they had a piece of art on board, and they crashed, and he went searching for them in the snow. And anyway, they all died. Anyway, and so this is showing their grave marker, and their grave marker has 3 people on it. Okay, so, and the other thing is to note, the airplane flies to the other side instead of a bullet on this one. And they were flying patterns across. And anyway, there's a lot of hints in here that get you a twin engine airplane, 2 Omegas. Anyway, but I mean, what's the chances? What's the coincidence here? Anyway, let's go on with this idea. Anyway, please like, subscribe, give me a thumbs down, a thumbs up, do a comment. I've been answering them all. If you got questions, I'd just love to answer some questions. Maybe somebody's got some great questions I've never considered. Maybe somebody's got some great ideas I've never considered. It would be wonderful. Anyway, we'll just go from there. Please subscribe. Just do it. Hit that little thing. I don't know. Don't do the bell if you don't want notifications, but it'd be cool. Either way, we're here on page, well, it's 38, and 39 just happens to be the number of the blaze here. And there's other things, and there's tons of stuff. I mean, he's talking about his sight was just a little off, and he's shooting birds, and a robin just knew to duck its head, and that's the end right there. 79 is robins, and then birds are 33, and you can read it through. Uh, Lots of great stuff. But right over here, just going with the easy pictures, we have another round picture, and they got their little guns. They're playing Billy the Kid again. There's three of them in this picture, and then there's three edges. You gotta know where the edges are, and so the one of the edges is the number 3 marker. And in here you actually have him shooting, and then there's a telephone pole and a telephone pole in this particular picture, and you're like, wow, that's pretty cool, another coincidence. So we get 66 chains, or actually it's 66 feet because it's only one chain across. Anyway, so some ideas here. We'll go with a little bit more. All right, we're in Too Far to Walk again. This is page 30, and it goes, this is my mom and little sister, June, who is sitting on Billy the Kid. And June is the 6th month, and, use that. You got these little things. There's so many of them. You can count them out. Anyway, this is page 30. That's an end number, and he's playing Billy the Kid again. So we know that that marker has 3 on it. And then, you got 6 over here. Anyway, but what's great here is it's showing you the mirror, because this picture right here up in the corner is this picture mirrored. It's hard to tell. It's a little sneaky, but they're mirrored. So that shows that the cemetery has to be mirrored and shoot across to Billy the Kid's marker. Okay, you probably already seen this. This is in Once Upon a While, and this one's just pretty great. He's talking about his BB gun again, the Red Ryder, and so there's your red again. And this just happens to be on page 33. So let's look at what that means. There's that 33 number again. Anyway, so we have 33 down here in the corner. And then this is actually marker number 32. And if our gun is across here, this is our front sight, and we shoot across to number 30. Okay, we're going to go to page 30 on this. So let's take a look at this again. Okay, so we're on page 33 right here, and we're using 32 as our sight, and BB is 22, so that actually gets us in the corner too. It's a BB gun, a Red Ryder. Anyway, so we're shooting across, and we're going to hit page 30, and page 30 just happens to be, with it, we're brave and in the wood, and the page is red, and it's page 30. So what's that mean? Well, here we are, 33, using the side of 32, and we shoot across and we hit 30, and it's red because of the 5-year-old that has throat cut. I don't know any other way to describe it, but that's why that red is important. And, you have a black widow. I mean, there's all sorts of references to red. Maybe I'll do a video on red. Okay, this is the gate going into this cemetery. You can see that over here is a wooded area inside the cemetery. Anyway, I'm going to go over in Once Upon a While on page 53, rocks. The word value of rocks is 66, are used as grave markers. It's in Once Upon a While. It's where she's doing divorce logic. Let's take a look at that. So this is called divorce logic, and it has the scrap book that is 166, and that just happens to be 66, an end number here. And that in the scrapbook, it was called graveyard logic. So I don't know, that's pretty, and spells the name at Fred. There you go, 99 at the end. And rocks is the marker. He does a lot of things about rocks. He's out flying through the desert looking for piles of rocks, and I don't know, just all sorts of things. And then she spells the name wrong, and it's still 33. And anyway, so there's just a lot of great hints in here. Oh, and her eyes were red. I mean, there's your red there. Uh, so just some interesting things here in divorce logic or graveyard logic. So, let's go on and see if our logic holds. Okay, here's another picture of the cemetery that I'm in here. And this is a picture of the blaze right here. And you can see that uh, one of the things that, I went here on my very first boots on the ground, and I think even Jack says he did, but Jack's just telling my story and he's not the real finder. But either way, uh, you know, and I just, yeah. Okay, we'll go from there. But what I was going to say is he describes this cemetery in My War for Me. Let's look at that. Okay, we got another picture here, but actually, and this is they used to give cowboys would give people horse rides through the park, and there's a lot of corrals down here with the horses, and he talked about the horses would be just down the road by the cemetery, and the one rode by, and he goes, "Hey, cowboy," and the guy got off and punched him and rung his bell and hit him in the face, wherever you hit him, but face is 15, and he goes, "Oh, I made my first rule, and that was, don't make the alligator mad until you cross the road." And then he goes, "That cowboy was my best friend." Yeah, it's because when they were running this, they were kind of, anyway, it doesn't matter, but another coincidence, they actually stopped doing horse things in about, I think it was 2014, or maybe it was 16. I don't know. I could figure that one out. But basically, back to the cemetery and My War for Me. It goes, "As we rose and started walking in the tall grass towards the helicopter, a strange chain," chain is 66, one chain of events happened, began to unfold. "I tripped over something and fell flat on my face." Well, face is 15. Uh, that never happens to me, and yet does in some of his other stories. "Then when I started to push myself up, I came nose to nose," and that's face to face, "with a rude aluminum marker." And if you look up aluminum on the periodic table, it has a value of 13. Grave marker, and marker has a value of 66. So we're getting all these. We got 66, we got 13, and then we have nose to nose, which would be on his face. How strange and out of place it seemed. I could barely read the dirty. Anyway, it goes in, and then he goes, "The grass is growing over the grave markers. Nobody remembers. Nobody remembers to cry." Jack cries after he finds it. Anyway, and then he goes, "The grass knows, the trees knows." Anyway, and this just happens to be a military cemetery. And they did go through and dig up all the, they went up and dug all the soldiers out of here in 1916, and they transported them to Custer's last battle, the graveyard there. And there, he gives clues about that one that tie to this if you're watching closely. And then there's about 3 military people left in here. So basically, and there are, like he trips over an aluminum grave marker. There are brass grave markers, at least 2 of them in here. So there's another coincidence. So on page 33, it shows a cemetery with many grave markers on Once Upon a While. So if you turn to Once Upon a While, this one's great too, and it just happens to be on page 133. So He was considered a shooting star. So this is page 132. That would be the blaze. You have the cemetery on 133 here. Just subtle hints. I mean, I don't think we can get the 30 like the other one. He doesn't do these things all the time, but basically that's another good hint. Okay, and then let's go on page uh, 243. That's Forrest, and he's standing next to the picture of the blaze. On page 174, three people. That's the three that are on that one grave marker. The thrill of the chase on page 33 is a grave marker skillfully disguised as part of the picture. Anyway, that's the marbles, I believe. And page 37, there are several grave markers in the illustration on the top of the page. That's in the thrill of the chase. In the thrill of the chase on page 41, there are again several grave markers in the illustration. On page 57, Forrest writes, we should have buried him standing up, and that relates to his picture on page, I believe it's 50, and he's got a watch on, and he's standing up in the cemetery here, I believe. Anyway, on page 73, illustration shows a man holding a grave marker. That's in my war for me. On page 95 shows a similar illustration to page 73, except that it's bigger. And then on page 144, the illustration of a cut tree stumps in a cemetery. Anyway, so, and Forrest Fenn's always telling stories about people, and I'd say 85% of them, or even 90% or more, are passed away. Anyway, it's all just hints if you want to see it that way. So these are my opinions. Don't get too mad. Anyway, if you look in here, there's a stump there. There's stump there. There's stumps throughout this whole area, or it'll all be grown over like the other side is. So I forgot this one for the guns. It's called the Mountain Man, and of course, is a gun. They're shooting here at this stump here, which has a $100 bill on it, and there's some play of words in here for sure. Uh, anyway, a $100 bill is a C note, which is the third letter in the alphabet that gets us to the end. So let's look at this a little bit. I'll just read this. I drew a line in the dirt, then stepped off 100 yards and nailed $100 bill to a tree stump. Whoever hits it could have it. Whoever finds it can have it. I felt safe for $10 each mountain. That's another X marks the spot. Each mountain man was allowed one shot. I thought the chances of anyone hitting the money were remote. I was going to make some easy go home gas money. Anyway, there's more hints, and it shows them a picture on the other page in the wood. Anyway, I was hiding behind a large ponderosa's near the target because he is, anyways, the blaze. And the first shot rang out. The bullet impacted 6 inches. 6 just is an end number too. Left of the $100 bill. Number 3. Anyway, and I thought it was a lucky shot. The second bullet struck just right. The next one, a mere 5 inches. There's your 5 there. And my confidence was losing strength at an alarming rate. The next person lined up was a grizzly of a man who wore anyway, he goes on and he goes, I was behind the tree stump when the mountain man lined up for the shot, took aim, and fired. So there's 3 that miss, so that gets you to 3. The fourth one does hit it, but it plays it out. Anyway, I heard a loud thud, and the 50 caliber, and the word 50 has a word value of 66, and he uses that 50 a lot, and it's the word value that's important, is the 66. And the bullet hit Alexander Hamilton in the forehead, which is wrong. and the tree stump. Anyway, the deadly accuracy of the shot was a shock to my collective sensibilities. With the pull of the trigger, I was $70. He was out $70. So that leaves $30 that that he made back. And that's an end number, 30. So anyway, as you can see, that there's a lot of hints in this particular chapter of the Mountain Man. So I'll leave it on that. Hopefully it's not too long. Keep smiling. Please subscribe. Lots of great content coming your way, and we're going to blow this wide open. Hold on for the ride. I am. Jeez.